Welcome back, artists. Today we are going to start planning for our bits and pieces project. So this is a clay project where you make patterns with little pieces of clay and you place coils in between your patterns to help it be nice and strong. The goal for this project is to make sure that you have at least 5 different patterns. So here on this one, I did some vertical pieces, then I did a coil, then I did some horizontal pieces, then I did a coil, then I did some horizontal with openings and a coil, and then I did some vertical with openings, then a coil, and then I did some slanted pieces. So all of my pieces are very similar in shape, however they are put together differently. And then finally a coil at the top. Here is another example of a bits and pieces project that I did. The bottom is squares or rectangles with a coil. Then I call these rainbows. Then a coil, sticks, I guess, long or pieces of coil, a coil, circles, coil, and then another one of squares with a coil at top. The other thing you want to notice too is, do you notice how this just doesn't go straight up? This one starts wider and then gets thinner. So that means there is a profile change. We don't want it to look just like a cylinder. We want to change that. This one also changes. This one changes a bit more right here where I did what I call the brick pattern. The goals for this project are to use 5 different patterns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and change the profile, change the shape of your piece as it goes up. So to begin, our first step is to do some thinking and planning for our designs. So those of you who are at school, you can open up your learning logs and find the next empty page. I would like you to write that this is called bits and pieces at the top. And then you'll want to write down the date. So we're going to be starting this on the 7th. And then I want you to draw some lines. You can use a ruler if you want, but you can just follow along on the lines that are already in your paper. So I'm going to put sort of like a heading area at the top, and I want to divide this in half as close as you can. You don't necessarily have to measure and count. And then I'm going to draw it in half one more time. So you're going to come up with 2 different ideas of how you could do your piece. So at the top, you're going to draw your profile, what this would look like from the side. So if I was to draw this profile, I would have it wider at the bottom, and it would come in and then go straight up at the top. If I wanted to draw this one, it would start off wide, and then it just sort of gradually comes in. You can decide which way or how you want to draw your piece. Now on the bottom, these are your patterns. So you're going to be thinking about lines or shapes that you can make out of clay to create a pattern. You should try to come up with 5 of them. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I like to do to help me remember that you need to work in between coils is I like to draw a line or 2 lines in between, like this. And then I would leave some space for my pattern. So this could be right here for my coil. And now you're going to add your patterns to it. So for example, if I was going to draw this one, my sketch would look like this. I would have vertical lines here. So this would be one pattern. The next one would be sort of like bricks. So maybe I would draw a line across and then I would divide it in half or divide it into shapes, and then My next row is going to be opposite, like that. And then my coil. And then the third one, I have rectangles that are kind of laying down, and then there's empty spaces. So to represent that this is empty, I can color this in to show that that's the negative space, or it's darker. Like when you look at this, you can see that's a little bit darker than my coil. This one has taller spaces in between, and there's a little bit more in the opening. If you notice here, I put one where the opening was here, so I sort of opposited it, and that's something you could do too. So then here's one here, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. And again, I would color these in so I know that that's an open space. And then finally my last one, oh, I probably want to put a coil on top, right? Because we want to have a coil on the top. And then my last one would just be diagonal lines. And then you would want to go ahead and do the same thing on this side for your other shape.